Hello, welcome back to the Coleman channel. Oh yes, can you believe it? Yeah, I'm not dead. Hello, as you can see. If you're wondering where I've been for the past month, if you've been following the channel for a while, you should probably check out the video that I uploaded before this one, the latest video I uploaded on the Coleman channel, which is a bit of a life update, basically telling you that I'm very busy, or I'm going to be very busy. I have been very busy with stuff like university and my new job and all that kind of stuff. But I'm here now, gonna try and make some, well, I'm not even gonna promise anything. I'm making videos essentially, is what I'm doing, and I thought it'd be nice to do a little behind the process. The video series we talk about the making of things. I can't even remember the whole spiel that I said before, it's been that long. Can you believe it? Look, I've got one of these things now. It's new, I just got it a while ago. It's totally fucking crazy. Anyway, yes, behind the process, here we talk about the behind the scenes, the making of things, something like that. So yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool to do a behind the scenes of my job, my freelancing job, because yes, that's what I do now. I'm a freelance videographer with a company, a digital content company, who provide real estate videos and still photography and all that kind of stuff for properties and all that kind of stuff. I don't work with a real estate company. I work with the company that works with the real estate companies, and yeah, I'm contracted to go out on jobs and run about the place and provide film and stills and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd just tell you what my process is, what that entails, all that kind of stuff, give you a bit of behind the scenes on how it all works, and maybe if you are experienced in videography and all that kind of stuff, it might give you an idea on how it all works from the perspective of someone who's done it for a little while. I've only done a couple of properties already, but you know, I've done it enough that I can tell you this is how it is, at least for me, and then you may get an idea of how it all works if you ever wanted to do it before, kind of thing. So my responsibility as a freelance videographer for this particular company is threefold. I have to provide three things. I have to provide still photography of all of the rooms in the property that I'm in. Of course, the front of the property and the garden, if there is one, and garages and all that kind of stuff, if they have them. 2, I need to provide videography of the house, pretty much doing the same thing, doing a lap around the house again, same thing with the stills, but video. We'll get into that in a little minute when we talk about the equipment that I use and all that kind of stuff. And 3, floor plans. I need to provide floor plans of every floor of the house, all the rooms, closets and all that kind of stuff, the measurements of every room, label them, and then send them away. Yeah, that's the threefold thing I need to do. I don't know if every freelancing videography job requires floor plans to be provided. Certainly with this company it does. But yeah, I can get, again, more detail into that as I show you the equipment and that kind of thing. But yes, stills, videography, floor plans. That's the 3 things that I must provide when I'm doing my job. I just turned the lighting down a little bit because my dome was hella shiny. But yes, that's my threefold job description essentially. But yeah, basically how it works, you can pick your days that you work, your times that you work and all that kind of thing, and what happens is they will send out a job to you on your diary. So they'll give you the address you need to go to, the time you need to show up, whether you need to go and pick up the keys from the real estate agency, or you just go in, the people are in there already, you can just wander in and be like, hello, it's me, I'm going to go do the things for you now, and then you go and do it. So I've had a bit of both from that. I was doing a job today as of the recording of this video, where I had to pick up the keys. It was actually an empty house, there was like nothing in it. So yeah, that's usually what I have to do, and then I have to go travel out to the place. It can vary from where I have to go. Like I mentioned in the video before, that I'm going to be busy video. It can be in the Renfrewshire area, which is where I live, to the Ayrshire area, which is a bit further out. It can be in Glasgow as well. I've not had any Glasgow jobs yet, but you know, it depends whether I have to travel or not. I usually do have to travel, whether it's by bus or by train. But yeah, that's basically how that all works. And now, I guess I have to show you the equipment that I use for all my stuff that I do. Very, very exciting. So obviously as a freelancer, I have to provide my own equipment. my own camera equipment and all that kind of stuff, so it's a big thing you need to keep in mind. Obviously, as a freelancer, they can expect you to have your own stuff, but this will give you an idea. You do not need the higher echelon of video technology in order to do this kind of job. As long as it can shoot in 1080p, as long as it's great quality, as long as you can control the ISO and the white balance, and the f-stop and the shutter speed and all that kind of stuff. The biggest requirement you need, at least for this job, I think pretty much for most, or at least real estate jobs, you need a 60mm lens, because it's a wide angle and it makes all the rooms look big, and that is important because it makes the house look big, and that's what we want. But first of all, I will show you my camera. So this is a little doohickey that I use. This is literally just a Sony a7 II full frame camera body. Yeah, Sony a7 II. This is literally like the 2014 model. This is used, so it's pretty inexpensive for what it is, for a used camera that's now a good couple of years old. But considering the age of this thing, considering if it were on like the Sony a7 like 4 or something like that now, I think they just literally released a new one, Sony a7 4R or something like that. The Sony a7 II holds up pretty well, especially for the kind of job that you're doing, which is my job. It's pretty much does everything you need it to do, to be quite honest. Like I said, it's like 1080p, like it's 1080p, it's got steady shot in it, like so, if you can even read that, which means, you know, when you're holding the camera, it kind of stabilizes itself for you just a little bit, you know, just to kind of help you out a little bit, you know what I mean, when like you're trying to get stills or anything like that. The monitor comes out like so, pretty much only does that. Like you can't like bend it outwards or anything like that, so if the camera's like facing you can't even see. If the camera's facing me, I can't take the monitor out and have it face me so I can see what's going on with it. But you know, when you're taking stills for a house, you only need to take it out like that, and then you can see what you're doing. Because one of the things you need to do is you need to take everything from like belly button level, so quite low down. If I'm like standing up like this, wow, we're standing up in a Coleman video, I'm usually having to do it like so, pretty much a bit lower than that usually. So this comes out like so. I can see what I'm taking a picture of, make sure that the whole room looks wide and I'm getting pretty much everything in it, all the details and all that kind of stuff. And then I go from there, which is very exciting. Obviously I use it on manual, so what this little dial's for, set it to M for manual, means you can get full access to change everything from the ISO to the white balance, to the f-stop, to the shutter speed and all that kind of stuff. And you need to pretty much do that from every room, just about, in case, because the lighting can be different in every room depending on what the light fixtures are like and all that kind of stuff, depending on the size of the window, if there's like a lot of light coming in, depending on the time of day or whatever. Like for instance, today was a really rainy day, so it wasn't particularly bright, so I had to take that into account when it comes to setting the white balance on this, and the ISO and all that kind of stuff. Usually it's typically ISO 800, so quite low, because all this stuff gets fixed in post anyway. I don't fix it in post. The people I send it to fix it in post, so if it's quite dark, it doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, like I said, this is only 1080p, it doesn't do 4K, anything like that, not that it matters anyway. Only takes one SD card. Like I've used a Sony a7S III before with StudioFV, the media production company I used to work with. That took 2 SD cards. This one only does the one, but again, for the kind of thing that I'm doing, it doesn't really matter. If you're doing a job like this, the Sony a7 II is a very, very viable camera to use. Full frame as well, obviously. Full frame's pretty much standard for this kind of thing as well. So picking up like a used Sony a7 II is pretty much worth it if you're doing like real estate or anything like that, and then you can upgrade later on as you want to. But if you're just starting out, this is a good thing to have. I should note that this isn't part of the camera, this is part of the other thing I'm going to show you in a little minute. But yeah, Sony a7 II is my camera that I use. Digital camera, full frame, blah 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 blah. Pretty much just gave you all the things you need to know about it. Steady shots inside, one SD card, 1080p max. I think the highest quality of like pictures and stuff or videos like XVAC HD or something like that. I can't even do that because my SD card isn't that good. I need a better SD card to shoot an XVAC, but I shoot in the next level down, which is like still pretty high HD, 1080p HD and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if XVAC's like 1080p 60 frames. I can't imagine that because you can change, you know, the shutter speed changes the frame rate on the camera, so I don't know what it means, but I can't shoot an exFAC anyway. I shoot in the one below that, which I don't even know what the name of that file is. In fact, I can check because I've got a battery in this right now. AVCHD, that's the format that I use when I'm shooting with this little doohickey. But yeah, obviously it handles all my stills and all of my videography. Obviously this is the thing that does it all. It's totally crazy. It's nice and handheld, easy to hold, so especially combined with the gimbal that I use, which is what this is from. It's still quite heavy, especially with the lens, but it could be a lot heavier considering the size of this camera, which is handy. But yes, this is my camera that I use. Next up we have the lens, which is in my nice little lens case here. This is a... Oh, here it is here. Actually, just so you can see it. This is, I've got the box here, I'm reading off it. Well, yeah, essentially this is a full frame FE 16 to 35mm full frame lens for the Sony E-mount, obviously. Yeah, if you don't know about that, you don't just like buy a camera lens and then just slot on any camera body. Some are fed for specific bodies. Obviously this is fed for the Sony E-mount, which is what the Sony A series uses, like the A7. I've got the A7 II and all the other ones. This lens is fed for that. So yeah, like I said, it's 16 to 35mm lens, so that's on 35mm there, which is like pretty standard angle. Like maybe if you're shooting an interview with like a talking head or something, 35mm is quite appropriate. Then you go shh, and that's 60mm, which is like what I exclusively shoot on for real estate, and that basically provides a nice wide angle to capture the whole room and make it look big and stuff. If you take the lens cap off, you can basically see there on the lens that it's quite wide, which is good, which is what you need. You know, actually needs a little bit of a wipe because it was raining today. Like I said, a lot of my stuff got wet, which is quite annoying. But yeah, as you can see here on the back of it as well, that is fed for a full frame camera lens for the Sony E-mount. I had a bit of an annoyance with this actually, because this is the one component that I needed for the job actually, was a 60mm lens. I didn't have one. I went to pick one up and ended up getting a Sigma contemporary 60mm lens, but it was for the wrong frame. It was not for full frame, it's for the other one. I can't remember what the name of. I think the Sony A series uses that, like the Sony A6000 and stuff like that. Uses that other frame. I don't know, it's not called full frame, it's called something else. Hang on. Crop sensor, yes, crop sensor, that's what those particular camera bodies use. I ended up picking up a crop sensor lens by accident, although I did ask about it, and I had to go back, return it, and then I got this, the 60mm lens, which is full frame, and it's actually a lot better anyway, because like if I wanted to, if I was shooting anything that wasn't real estate, if I didn't need to use the 60mm lens, I can set it to 35 if I just want to shoot something a bit more contemporary, a bit more not needing a wide angle essentially. But yeah, you know, it's actually really nice. It feels really nice in the hand, very nicely built. I like the Sigma one, which is a bit more like cheap materials, because Sigma's like more of a budget brand anyway. But yeah, you got your focus ring there, which is what that is, your focus ring. Because it's better. I usually just shoot in manual focus, because the Sony A7 II's autofocus is pretty lame actually. So I usually just stick with manual focus anyway, and then you got your focus ring there, which makes it very simple. Nice action, very smooth. Again with the this particular ring as well. I don't know what you call that. The lens ring, millimeter ring. I don't know. I don't claim to be an expert in any of this stuff. I just do it as a job. Yeah, 60mm lens, one of the most important parts of the job. As you can see, it's pretty hefty in terms of size, and it's got a good bit of weight to it as well. And then combine that with making it a bit longer, it's very front heavy as well, which is a thing you need to take into account also. But yeah, that's the lens that I use, another bit of very exciting tech. And for the videography aspect here, I've got this big old ass case. Ooh, look at that, very fancy. It's like a valise or something like that, very fancy little suitcase. This is the DJI Ronin SC. This is a gimbal. I've actually talked about this particular gimbal before, because this is the same one that we used in StudioFV again. I'll open up the case for you so you can see the innards. There it is, all packed away like a rifle or something like that. so you can get an idea whatever it is. That's the main body there with all the different axes and stuff that you set. That's just a little mini tripod thing there. That's the handle right there. That's just a little thing for your phone if you want to make it a monitor. I don't use that. They're just your bits and bobs for like screwing on the plates and stuff. The plates you saw in the Sony camera, just keep that on because it saves time. No point in taking off because I use it all the time anyway. So you can just keep the plates on it, and then it saves you from having to unscrew everything and screw it back on, etc, etc. Those are just wires. This little black one here, that's a charger wire here for the handle. The Ronin SE is a very, very good charge, by the way. I've only had to charge it once since I've had it. And this little doohickey is really handy as well. Basically, this little USB-C thing here plugs into the gimbal, and then this little micro USB wire plugs into the camera. And then, as you can see here, this has got a record button on it, this little red dot. So rather than having to hit the little tiny red record button on the camera, you can record on the gimbal instead, which is really, really handy when you're shooting video with this thing, because it's a very specific technique and it's very, very annoying to do. So yeah, I'm not going to set this up for you now. I'll put a picture in soon enough of the whole setup in a little minute because I've got one of those. But yeah, basically this slots into that, and then that screws onto that at the bottom, and then you set all your axes. There's like little locks here, and it swings them about and locks them again and all that kind of stuff. And then you slot your camera on top of it, and then you have to balance all the axes to make sure it sits perfectly still. Mine's are pretty much set up to go. I just need to sometimes adjust it because obviously the lens makes it more front heavy. I need to balance it out to make sure the camera just sits perfectly still. And then you just turn the sucker on, and then it auto stabilizes the camera, so it goes nice and smooth, left and right, up and down and all that kind of stuff. And then also you can change the parameters of your Ronin SC with the app, which is what I have, because there's very specific settings you need to have on the gimbal for the way they want the videography shot for real estate. Yeah, the one it's usually you would have your gimbal set to pan follow mode, so like pretty quickly moves with you because it can lag. You can change all those type of parameters and stuff like that, but pan follow mode is really good for when you're trying to go through doors and it follows you pretty quickly and all that kind of thing. But yeah, this is very squeaky. Hang on, it's very squeaky, this thing. Did it? I did it, everyone. But yeah, pan follow mode. Yeah, I'll probably do a screen capture of like all the different funny parameter things that you can set up. I just can't be bothered setting up the gimbal right now because I've done it today already, and I don't much feel like doing it right now. I'll do it in post. But yeah, it's a bit. The gimbal is obviously the very important aspect of the whole thing for the videography because yeah, house viewings on like the websites and stuff are like a big thing now because it saves people having to go out for viewings and stuff. Back in the day, we'd use something called a slider, which is like a big thing that you'd attach to like a tripod maybe, and it just moves left and right like that, and it just lets you do a big smooth pan. But it, you know, now that they've got gimbals that everyone can have now, it's a bit different. You can't just like stand in a corner and just like pan for the whole room. It allows you to do like orbit around the room and get details and stuff like that, which is like what they expect you to do with a gimbal. But it's very specific how you use the gimbal. You can't just like walk around with it and willy-nilly. It doesn't just stay stabilized for you because it will capture you bouncing and like moving and that. You need to actually slouch down, crouch down really tight, like that, basically hunched, and then you gotta hold on real tight. I usually keep the tripod on it because it gives me like an extra grip, and then just like walk very slowly while hunched, while like going through all the rooms and stuff. It is very tiring, believe it or not, especially because of the weight of the gimbal on top of the camera, on top of the lens all together. But yeah, you gotta basically move like that through all the rooms and stuff, through the doors, orbit the room, all that kind of thing to get all the details and make it look schmancy, man. Next up, floor plans, because yes, again, believe it or not, we do have to provide floor plans and measure all of the rooms, draw a diagram, a floor plan of all the rooms and all the floors and stuff. This is a thing that I found very tricky before because I never understood how measurements worked. I just walked in like, yeah, I can do video and stills floor plans. But the first time I did it, I used a measuring tape, which is very annoying, especially when you're on your own because like the tape bends and stuff. So I have this. This little tiny baby thing is a DeWalt laser measure, which basically works like a measuring tape, except it's a laser, which works like so. You press on, it comes on like that, and there is a little laser, as you can see. Beep. Oh my! Hopefully that didn't hurt anybody there. It probably hurt me. Did it hurt the camera? I don't know. But yeah, look at that. Little laser, boop, 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 like that. And then basically all you gotta do is put it against the wall to get the length and the width of each room. So if I do this now, put it up against the wall like so, if I can find a gap because there's shit all over my room, all over my office. There we go. So we sit there like that for a while. The laser measures up on the wall. The lasers hit the wall. You just press the button again. And then it comes out with the little, it comes out with a little number there. That says 3.940 feet. Usually it's in millimeters, but you can you can just go on Google and like change it from feet to millimeters pretty easily. But yeah, it does a bunch of different measurements like meters and stuff like that. But yeah, I usually just do feet. And then I go around all the rooms, get the length and the width, just slap against the wall, laser to the wall, wait a little while until the number settles down, press the button, lock it in, and then I write it down on this little book. Very sophisticated technology. Just got a bunch of floor plans and stuff on it. My writing is very atrocious. I actually, full disclosure, get my dad to help me with a lot of this because he does floor plans anyway. So I usually like pass on my measurements of my floor plan that I've done, and he comes back with a cleaner one that is legible, essentially. But yeah, you gotta get all the details down, like where doors are and stuff like that. Label them bedroom, lounge, garage, closet, you know, WC, all that kind of thing. Yeah, that I have to do all that kind of stuff. I've got a ruler and a pen, but you don't need to see that because you know what those are. But yeah, this is what I use for that kind of thing, a little laser measure, because it's way easier than a measuring tape, especially when you're on your own. Yeah, length and width, all the rooms, boom on the wall, laser, zoom, press button, stop, write it all down. And then I usually leave that for last because I've done all the video and the stills at that point. But yeah, that's really about it. That's like the full extent of what I do as a freelance videographer for real estate and properties and all that kind of stuff. 3 things I need to do: videography, still photography, floor plans. 60mm lens, very important. You can be very flexible on what kind of camera you can use because it's very simplistic stuff. It's just 1080p going for all the rooms. You can change the ISO and the white balance and the f-stop and the shutter speed and all that to your liking, to what you need for every individual room. Then you can just get a Sony a7 II from 2014 that's used, and it works perfectly fine. It works perfectly fine. It's a great camera, even to this day. A gimbal, obviously, it's very important as well. This one here as well is a used one, Sony DJI Ronin SC. It's a nice, compact, easy to carry around, easy to assemble gimbal that does what you need it to do, and then you can change all the parameters on the app. The DJI Ronin app connects to the gimbal via Bluetooth. Yeah, you can set all the different parameters for the 3 different axes on the gimbal: the tilt, the pan, and the roll axis. You can change them all on the phone to make them more sensitive, to make them less sensitive, and all that kind of stuff. For example, you don't want the tilt to be too sensitive because if it tilts all the time when you're moving it goes up and down. You want it to be nice and smooth, so you make it quite tight. Pan follow mode, so it pans very quickly where you move. Big thing as well though, the more you change these parameters, the rotors in the gimbal become louder. So like, it doesn't really matter for real estate because you're not filming it for audio, but like if you're trying to do maybe an on-the-go kind of interview type thing, just watch out for that when you're changing the parameters on your gimbal, because if the rotors start getting louder, for instance, you got the tilt axis right next to the camera. It's like right here, this is the tilt axis, this is the camera, it's going to go and the camera might pick that up. Just a little thing to think about. So yeah, belly button length on the still photography, little monitor comes out, 60mm lens for the wide room. I usually try and take the pictures is with the window facing the front. That's usually like the main picture that you get. The face, the window facing outwards for everything makes it look nice basically. We get wide shots typically, close shots for like, I don't know if you're trying to get a bit more detail, and then detail shots if there's any like things in the kitchen or the living room or something that's nice and fancy, we want to put some detail on basically. And then that gets labelled like that when you're sending all the files off, like bathroom wide, and then if there's more than one shot, bathroom B, bathroom C, bathroom 1, 2, 3, depending if there's more than one. Same with bedrooms. And then obviously I need to take a front external shot, that's important, garden shot, all that kind of stuff. Front external shot always comes first, whether it's for still or for video. And then the floor plans, obviously, laser measure, low DeWalt baby laser measure thing, go around the rooms, length and width, laser on the wall, write all down, make a little plan, a rough sketch essentially to just make sure you have everything labelled down. And you just do that for all the houses that you go to, man. Pretty simple stuff. Like I said, if you're maybe a videographer trying to break into freelance, that's definitely a good way to go. It's good money and all that kind of stuff. And all you need is a gimbal and a 60mm full frame lens, depending on who you're working for, and a good enough camera. Like the Sony A7 II is perfect for what I need. And then you may or may not even be doing floor plans. If you do, laser measure is the way to go because it's way simpler than using a tape measure. As an app as well called Cubicasa, which I don't know anything about because I think you need to pay for it or something like that, but it basically makes like your standardized floor plans for you as well, and you can like go about and scan the room and it makes it for you. Never done anything like that before, and again you need to pay for it. Don't know if that works. I would just stick with a laser measure for now, I think. But yes, that's basically a very simple behind the process on my freelancing job for real estate. That's all the things I gotta do. That's all the equipment that I use to do it. That's how I go about my business, going to the different places in the houses, and or if I have to get keys or whatever, just get invited in. I don't let myself in if there's someone in it. I get invited in to do all the things. Yeah, pretty much simple as that, man. But yes, thank you all for tuning in for this behind the process on my freelancing real estate activities. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Again, sorry for the absence and all that kind of stuff. Videos are still going to be pretty slow, trickling in and all that kind of stuff on the Coleman channel because, like I say, I'm still busy as all heck. But I'll try and be more consistent with videos and all that kind of stuff and get back in a grind with scripts and all that kind of thing as well for the long form content I'm working on. And the streaming, all that stuff I say all the time. You know what I'm talking about. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, bell. Follow the Twitch, twitch.tv/Coleman Live. Yeah. I'm not dead. Can you believe it? I can't.